April 10 and 11 student demonstration, no?
The April 10 and 11 student demonstration.
It
was on the Monday morning.
Coming that day, exam because I've been to exam time.
That morning, we were supposed to have an examination, start our examinations, because that was the beginning of the examination period.
Yeah,
I was staying in Banjul with my guardian, Alamuta Baji. Some people call him alias Baji. I was with my guardian there, but during examination times, I used to come down to my brother, Alasan Kamara. He was staying in Bundum.
Because exam time,
because during the examination period, it is usually difficult to, for transportation is usually difficult. So to have things easy, it's good that you come closer to somewhere where you can have easy access to the school. That was the reason why I came to my brother at Bundum.
Also on the 10th April, year 2000.
So that morning, on the 10th of April, year 2000, I woke up, took a bath, and dressed in my uniform, as I usually do on other normal school-going days.
Because school. So that school
also inside my bag, I put my athletics materials because I was an athlete, so that after school I could go on my training.
Can you please tell us what type of uniform SOS had during that time?
Ako fesa fo no nyabang SOS krambu uniform fason jumale dungo tembo.
Yeah.
The shirt is white. Our skirts was blue and we had buttons in front of it. That was how our uniform was like.
And go on, what happened that morning?
So I later went to school. When I got to the school, the students, there were not many students there. We were supposed to have a paper, TD.
Can you please tell us where your school was located?
Our school is at the SOS in Bakote.
And at what time did you arrive in the school?
I got to the school around 8.
So what happened when you met few people in the school?
When I got to the school, I noticed that there were not many students, so I made inquiries and to ask whether there was not going to be any paper today.
Sorry for cutting you, I just need some clarification. You mentioned that the subject you were having that day was TD.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you tell us what TD means?
TD is technical drawing.
TD is technical drawing.
Go on, please.
So when I inquired, they said yes, people are supposed to have a paper, but there are not many people here. And secondly, Mr. Jallo is not even around.
It could be na Red Cross member do kafai Sambanjai.
So we were seated there. After some time, they said one of the Red Cross members, Sambanjai,
because we have no more coming student demonstration on Yantakasoto.
Because he had informed us that this student demonstration was to take place.
Yeah, so not having somebody paper man soto nga fero kam fana futa jeto.
So I now said, well, since there is no paper, let's make an effort and get there.
Yeah, sa ntamata nyale ntata.
So that was how we walked along and went there.
Yeah, mbetama kam fom futata Serekunda.
So we were walking until we got to Serekunda.
But mfutata Serekunda tu momina.
But at the time that we got to Serekunda,
Johnson dobe Serekunda, Johnson of Felenti.
there is a Johnson in Serekunda. You have the Johnson.
And Johnson no opposite do fanan Johnson do bije nawek Johnson no kata nawek le.
And the other side, opposite, there is a Johnson going towards the Nawek.
Mule Serekunda lo ngamere wole je ma faulon.
Those that know Serekunda, I think they would know that area.
So ngaje karamudo dinun be bor kanka bona wo ma fangola.
So we saw that some students were running from that end.
The junction you are referring to at Serekunda, is it possible that it's the Aisha Mari junction?
Akoy ka Johnson o men foten Serekunda fo Aisha Mari sila kumbe woni nombang.
Ni malo no dum ko je Johnson flale soto kilindo tata nawek kilindo jita Serekunda lo dula.
I can only say that there was two Johnsons there. One goes towards the Nawek end and the other one goes towards the Serekunda end.
Do you know?
Because I am not very familiar with this area.
My apologies. Do you know if there are any police stations around that junction you're referring to?
Ako fo yenyul lo ko wo sila kumbe oto je fo police station o be o ma fangola le bang.
Ani tambe to Johnson la do ka police station o soto.
Yes, as soon as you pass this Johnson, you get to the police station. Yes.
Thank you very much. It's like you're describing the Aisha Mari junction at Serekunda.
Ako numbara amonta Aisha Mari sila kumbe ngo ka wala foten Serekunda.
Can you please proceed with your evidence?
Ko sitenten ila seriarula.
Yo san kabrin futa to do ngaje student ol nimboro mina kan until lota.
So as we got to that Johnson, we saw students running towards us, and so we stood.
San kabrin o finke don dol ko ay ko fanan ko nyuko ali bori police ol le kana na molno manim paral.
So they said to us, you run because the police and paras are after us.
Until branch kan dun taw Johnson ola munta tanin na wek ma fangola.
So we branched and got to the Johnson that goes towards the Nawek end.
Ya nga boroke wala ton tata.
So we ran and went
Futata manokan.
until we got to the highway.
San kabrin futata manokan alaji alim bay mbuga mbahalla misirobe daminto.
So when we got to the highway around the Alaji Mbai Bugambahal's mosque,
Johnson obije mundun takata sandika.
there is a Johnson that goes inside the Sandika.
Ndun taw Johnson wala nimboro.
We got into that Johnson, we were running,
Bar para dol be mol ko manana.
but there were some paras behind us.
Mfuta sain tambita jumola drong nyato nang dol be lorin jeto.
As we passed the mosque, we saw some standing in front of us.
At this point, how do you know that they were para as you refer to them?
Ako nyin tembong ya lo nyaadi le ko nyil mu para leti.
Ila uniformo le yakende ngalon ko paral lem.
I know that by their uniform. That is why I know that they were paras.
Can you tell us what kind of uniform they were wearing, the color of the uniform, if you can recall?
Ako ni hakilo sibula fo isa fo no ila uniform o akuloro be nyaadi le ni hakilo sibula bun
Blue
kuloro.
lem, dark blue lem.
It was blue, dark blue.
Can you please describe what they had on them?
Ako bitung uniform ko la mum fem façon le be bala fo isi o fo no nyina.
Ila batinol be bulle.
They had their buttons.
Ila fenkol fanan be bulu ka mun protect mol nyato tende.
They also had their things which they used to protect.
Ido fanan be dendi kan wala.
And they also had guns.
So they had batons.
Ako bitung ila dokolu be bulu ila batinolu.
They had their shields.
Ila shields be bulu ko ike fantankandi menna.
And they had their weapons on them.
Andu
That's the gun.
Ako endung iko kidolu fanan be bulle. Ha?
Ha.
Yes.
Okay then. Can you please tell us what happened when you met up with them?
Ako bitu yetenten ya fonye bringa ni bentawo nya ali dolu jali nyatu munenata ke.
Sa ndol be ko ma dol be nyato fende nde ku ken wala na manke nga sorenda.
Now, since some were behind us and others were in front of us, there was nothing we could do except to surrender.
Can you estimate how many of them you saw? Both counting the ones behind you and the ones in front of you.
Ako foi isa yirikanole ale mo jelle je o men yo uniform ol dum mennu bali nyato ani mennu bali koma foy se yiriko fono bang
mulbe nyato den sol fono because wol tambita mota ngolale bar mulbe ko mamalo wol munyellete.
Those in front of me I can estimate because they were more than 10, but I cannot estimate those that were behind us.
You said you had no choice but to surrender.
eko imang sila do soto fali ali fang dila fali lo drong.
Can you tell us if they said anything to you that made you surrender?
Ako fo nyiludun ye kumale fali e bamme ya kende ali ali fansa yima.
Dol mumbe lori nyato ko nyiko sa albita damin do al sofa namfo.
Those in front of us said, wherever you are going to, say it. Because here you are not going to pass. Raise up your hand. We raised up our hands. And those in front of us led the way and said, let's go. We are going to our camp.
Did they have anything on them? You actually raise your hands when they told you to do so.
Ako.
Can you tell us where the guns were pointed or where it was on them?
Ako kidolu be bala nyadile foy be chodi kidolu be chodi ring dulal labam fodum kidolu be bala nyadile.
Sayamul be nyato yela fanko yela filo ke bulo blaten yela kidol tilim molla.
Those in front of us, they had their shields in front of them and their guns were pointed at us.
At that point, did you willingly obey them or was there something that made you obey them?
Ako tembo adiata alifongole purale songema bang fodum kule yakendi mensa sababu purale songo moluma.
Mansong unsa wala ko kantu ninkido be lori kang. Ferote fe sifansai.
We did not comply out of our will, but when a gun is pointed at you, you have no choice but to surrender.
Can you please tell us where they took you after they told you to surrender?
Ako sila afonye itam yali samba minto lebri kali yali fansai.
Yale konye ko sa yali ngata kampo.
You know, now they said to us, let's go to our camp.
But they
took us well beyond their camp. We went up to the GTTI. We found other students there.
From Serekunda close to GTTI, that's a long walk.
Akos kabo Serekunda kata GTTI, wumutama jambale tide.
And we did the walk.
Along the way, did they say anything to you?
Albita kantu men nasilo kan foi kuma dolu fali enne bang.
Kantu ibafo kan ubara albe kulubale ale keka.
They were saying to us, since you want to show your rudeness, if you cannot solve any problem through that rudeness, you are only going to put yourselves into problems.
You told us that you arrived at the school around 8 a.m.
Yes.
And then you went to Serekunda. Then from Serekunda, you were escorted by the paramilitary up to GTTI. Can you estimate what time it was when you arrived at GTTI?
Faisa yirikano ila miraroto alifutata GTTI wato me asibeng wati jumale fe.
Mang time o jibe because o time o atara mo be kumbe kandiring mo mang kunya soto no nisi ila time o jibe.
I cannot estimate the time because at that time everybody was tense, so nobody had the time to check the time.
When you arrived at GTTI, you told us that you met another group of students there, correct?
Ako biring alfitara GTTI iko aliyetali bidul fanal tarajele walemba.
Yes, we found many.
The students from your group and the students you met at GTTI, can you estimate how many of you were there?
Faisa yirikano atelu nanga moment nata aning aliyetali bolu nanga moment tara GTTI. Faisa yirikano ila miraro to ba mojellem.
Different schools.
It was a large number from different schools, and it could even be more than 100.
So what happened when you arrived there?
So birali futata je mune nata ke.
Yem fanan kneel down, de coming Walter and Yari Nyami, Yem fanan Nyindi Fe Wonyale.
They made us to kneel down, just as we found the others kneeling down.
As at that time, was the sun already out? Was the sun hot?
Ako tembo fotilo botale bang tilobe kandirin ne bang.
Tilobe Kandirin.
Yes, the sun was out, up, and it was hot.
Where did they ask you to kneel down?
Yali nyoyindi minto mafanne.
Nyoyindi jititi ay nyati liunela mbedo dumala. Kenyonyi mkono je nyoyindi wala tu.
We were made to kneel down in front of the GTTI by the sand.
While you were kneeling down, did they say anything to you?
Albe nyoyri nye tumo menna fo fennulu falie bang.
No, imandi amudo fonyi oto mankuma fonyi.
No, they did not say anything to us.
Can you tell us what happened from there?
Kaboje sayin afonye mune nata ke.
Sa mbe nyairi woto fo group dol fana ini group dol fana minaka ini muli minaka nyola.
We were kneeling down there until they came with another group.
Sa o grupo la futo wole akendi intelligent janto joyondo.
The arrival of that group was the reason why we were scattered from that kneeling down.
And o grupo kono moso totale munko ko alkana songema because ye mo fale already jitita alkana songema.
Because somebody in that group said to us, do not comply with their instructions because they have already killed someone.
Sa ni sa no yembe fa nyola.
So if they want now, let us kill us all together.
We have received evidence
Na sede ya roso to janko.
that in between that time,
Ko wo wuche okono wo watola.
there were gunshots.
Kidikangolu kumata.
Did you hear or see anything at that time?
Fo tembo ye fenne moy bang wala inya ye fenne je bang o tembo.
Ota mo mamfe moy barika kidika on moy mamfe nje barika kidika on moy le.
At that time, I did not see anything, but you would hear the sound of gunfire.
So what happened when the student asked you people to run away from the paramilitary?
Ako sai mune nata kabiri wo talibo diamu ta kafo aliye balankatu ye mo fale mune nata ke kola.
Sa mo be wilta boro keta.
So that time, everyone got up and began to run away.
Ni be jaha sete nyokono mo be kun kedula nyinena.
So we mixed up there with them, and each one was trying to find a way out.
Group dol tata ten.
One group went this way, and the other group went the other way.
What was the reaction of the paramilitary when you started running?
Birali e boro damuta para lumenu bije para military ole hotu mo inata muneke.
Ifane boro ken noma.
They also ran after us.
Ifana ndel talata nyami group politique. Ifana talata ole nyama ibulata nyindol bulata in group dol noma nyindol bulata in group dol noma.
And just as we dispersed in groups, they also did the same. One group went after the one group, and the other group went after the other group of students.
So in which direction were you running? That is, if you can recall.
Lakonite hakilo samuta ite tilinu minto mafanne be bori kankata dame mafanna.
Komi otembo ntemang serakunda lombake ntenga kuntiling ila kampo mafangala because of lumbali yaka.
Because at that time I was not very conversant with the geography of Serekunda. I was running and heading, in fact, towards their camp. Behold, where I was heading to was where they were more numerous. Before I got to where I was running to, those behind me were all captured. At that time, I was not heavily built like this. If you said you were going to chase after me and catch me, it was not something going to be easy for you. So we chased each other. In the end, 4 of them came after me. So I was running, chasing each other with those 4. So I saw that the running was for a long time, and I was losing my breath. So when I looked behind, I saw a house close by. I jumped onto the, I knocked the door of that house and got inside.
Okordat yo maybe na nyimo ya bere membala because ngai tara ibe domor dindun be domorole la fo dindin do boita.
That compound owner, I'm sure if the person is listening, the person can recall, because I found the kids having their meal. In fact, one of the kids fell down.
Mborta pour nga sound fence ola.
I ran so that I could jump over the fence.
Because I
knew that I was slender built and I could jump over the fence. I gripped the fence and put one of my legs across. But my other leg that was left behind was grabbed by one of them. I saw that I was a woman, and on the wall were some iron bits. If I was going to engage in a push and pull with him, I was going to injure myself. So I jumped on them. We all crashed to the ground. Because I was faster than them, I got up before them. I said I was going to run away, but the one that was close to me got hold of my skirt. As I was pulling myself to free myself, all the buttons of my zip were uprooted.
At that point, did you have anything under? Because you told us at the beginning of your evidence that you usually wear shorts under your uniform.
Ako tembo fo fendo be dunding ila duma bang kadu ko tumo eka kurti sutung dung uniform o duma.
Na kurti sutung be dundin na lo tumo.
Yes, I had a shirt on at the time. So, but I lost all of my buttons from my skirt buttons. It was only one that was left. My leg, where they held me, it was torn by this iron.
So, that
was where the beating started. Some were slapping me, some were using their buttons to beat me.
You told us that 4 paramilitary officers were chasing you. Were all these 4 people beating you at that time?
They were all beating me.
You told us also that they had batons with them. And shields.
Yes.
And also they had their guns with them.
Yes.
This group of people that were beating you, can you please tell us what they were using to beat you with?
These ones used their buttons, the others were using their hands.
You said you entered a compound. And it was while you were trying to scale the fence that they pulled you down. Was the beating being done in that very compound?
When I was brought down, in fact, there was a woman who was standing by the gate telling them, take your time with this, she's a woman, before you injure her.
Sorry, it's take it easy with her, she's a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. At this point, did they heed to the woman when she said it?
They did not heed to her pleas. In fact, they shouted at her.
And what happened?
So they started the beating right there until we got to their camp.
Can you tell us how you got to the camp?
It was painful. That time, it was painful.
I know it's a bit painful.
And
I'm really sorry that I have to make you relive that moment. We were not there, so we'd like to understand what happened to you. So can you please tell us in detail
from
the time they dragged you from the fence and beat you up, and from that time how you got to their station?
Anyway.
It was painful anyway. When we got to their camp,
let me help you out with a few follow-up questions. Did you walk by yourself from the compound to their camp?
I did not walk. I was being dragged, and they were beating me along the same way.
Can you please tell us which part of your body they were dragging you with?
So it's like when they beat me and I fall, they will, someone will hold me and they will raise me up again, and that was what they were doing until we got to the camp.
Can you tell us the distance from the compound that they held you in to the camp where they were stationed?
For isi kano nyi yirikano le ye mutakorda menkono kaboto kata hanfo itella kampoto jamfo membejela foisa a yirikano le bang.
Ndo fenkeno kanto atara ndebe daminto dimi undamma ngawle lomba lobala.
I cannot, because at that time the only thing that I was conscious of was the pain that I was feeling on my body.
Did you sustain any injuries as a result of the beatings from the compound to the camp?
Ako fo ilawo lipo ke balajato balale bang kabo korda kono kata hanfo kampoto fo balo baramata le bang.
When I was pulled down from the fence, my leg was injured. The beatings that they did on me gave me some bruises on the back. And the slappings also swelled my cheeks.
Can you please tell us where in the camp they took you?
Because kabring yemboende.
That is a house, because when I was brought to the ground, I saw on my side there was a sponge.
Because after dimingo benale, mfanange muneke ngalon ko sa nganiola. Saya o balu nstata ngestan do mumbi ngala nyimbe ngorotel.
Because before they could fall me to the ground, it was a struggle. I was feeling pain, but I thought that I could do all I could and even die in the process. In fact, there was one that I scratched all over before they could fall me onto the ground.
At this point, was it still the same 4 people that you were?
Ako tembo ataw mona ni kilingo menu ye bayindi no fo hanimbe o mona no damman ni wala be nyola wutugo.
O mona no damale bije.
Yes, it was only those 4 individuals.
Can you please help us understand this? Because you said they took you to their own camp.
Akum mako nga faham eko yesamba itil fangol la kampole do.
And now you're telling us that it was a room in the camp.
sa ikafoko bunkono le beje wo kampoto je.
So can you please help us understand from the gate to that room? Can you help us understand the setting?
Akoy sem makoy no kabo korda bunda lay dunta ya ye dundi kampo da mendo katawo bungoto bungonyim abe ma fawmen na suwoko no je.
Je ngamre telephone lebe jeto because a line house malem.
I think they are the ones that are living there because it's sort of a land house.
Before being taken to that particular house you're referring to as the line house.
Line house.
Were you taken anywhere else?
Foye sambadula dole to follow bang in Janel Vitala Ubuntu.
Honey, iman sambadula.
No, I was not taken anywhere. I was taken there.
When you arrived at the camp, did you see anyone else apart from the 4 officers that were with you?
Foye modo lujijele bang menni wo mona no tekilinti menuta imeni ye mutanan.
Mbedo kama fa wale si molje bari kono to je modo mantraje.
Along the highway you would see people, but inside there was nobody.
Would you say that the line house you're referring to was the living quarters?
Ako woto musafo no ko yo line house o mem jije bungol le molu karila damin.
Ha.
Yes.
You said you were being wrestled to the ground.
Nyum foko ye briya ye dundi bunkono ye borindu male.
Ha.
Can you please tell us what happened after that?
Briya ye borindu ma ukola mune natake.
Kabri ye borindu ma wato minna.
When I was wrestled to the ground,
I
was sitting down, my legs were stretched.
One
of them took my bag from me. And he opened the bag. He took out my Walkman. Because at that time I used to go for jogging after school. He said to me, you were not going to school, you go out to play because you go to school with a Walkman. I said to him that was not his business. And he slapped me. He said to me, we are about to do something to you that you will never forget. He called another person.
Bring the road.
He said, Baji, bring the rope. That one brought the rope.
Do I understand you to say that the person said, Baji, bring the rope?
Akufaya fahamule ko meye kumandiro ke ay kumandiro menka akole Baji julo nati bang.
Ha, I all of.
Yes, that was what he said.
Apart from the name Baji.
Ako Baji kola.
Did you hear any other name being called?
Honey. No.
Can you please describe this Baji?
Ako faisi nyim Baji ke mo nyadi lem faisa amalango amulungo fono le bang.
He is not that well built and also he is not that tall.
Can you recall his complexion, skin complexion?
Folung abalo hakilo sibula wala le mo koyolem fo mampata balolem fo mo fingolom.
Mo fingolem.
It's a dark in complexion person.
Did you see any name tags on the officers that were around you?
Ako menu be balaje wairi polisolu wala paralu dolu tolu kasta tara safaring ibalale. Foyo toje ibalale menu be safaring jeba.
You will not see that because you were feeling pain and you will not even have the time to look out for those sort of things.
When the person said, Baji, bring the rope, can you tell us what happened?
So that rope was brought. One of them came towards me and slapped me. Took my hand and pulled it behind. So they made it as if I was lying down. But this hand was with him. He was standing. I was lying down, stretched. At the time that he brought the rope, they brought my hands close to myself, like this. They put my legs together also. Put a rope around.
He made a loophole with the rope and put it on my knee, on my toe, and tied me up.
And it's not a light tying.
Did all of them participate in this?
Because mbe pirim parankange bulle mbe mfam fenkendike bulle sa nje mutale kanyaji do ben sitika.
Yes, because I was struggling with them, and some of them suppressed me while others were tying me up.
Can you please tell us what each of them did?
Afanyang ikilin na momondi muneke.
These three individuals held me down, and the fourth one was the one doing the tying.
What happened after they tied you up?
He tied me until my neck, the side, and my neck, the height of my neck. So when the rope got onto my neck, they tightened it. It was not a light tying, it was tight.
Can you recall the type of rope they used to tie you up?
The ones they used to draw water from the wells. Those types of rope.
Go on, please.
So after he did that, because the other one had my workman with him, he said to me, you said you are going to exhibit rudeness. We are going to show you. And then I said to him, I don't know. He said to me, by the grace of God, we are going to do something to you. At that time, I knew that because of the pain that I was going through, I insulted his mother.
What did you understand when he told you that they would do something to you?
Because I
saw that they were maltreating me from the beginning up to that instance.
What happened?
So after I insulted his mother, another one slapped me.
You were lying down on the floor? And you were all tied up?
Yes, at this moment I was still lying on the ground. Yes, I was still tired.
How did the other one then slap you at that point?
My face, he hit my face.
What happened after he hit you on the face?
The one who had the workman on his ears stepped on me and started stamping on me.
Can you please tell us which part of your body he was stamping on? This must be really painful for you. If you do need time, please let me know. Can you go on now?
Yes, I can continue.
Can you please tell us which part of your body he was stamping on?
From my chest going downwards.
While he was stamping on you, was he wearing any shoes?
Yes, he was wearing shoes.
Can you please tell us what type of shoes he was wearing?
He had their paramilitary shoes.
So he was wearing the paramilitary boots and he was stomping on you.
Amunta ay paramilitary law butol le du samata balo biton anyola belori kang.
He was dancing on me with those boots. From my chest down to my legs. Which is why now I am not even able to do hard work.
Just to help us understand the position you were in while this was going on.
At
the point he was stamping on you, were you lying on your back or were you seated?
I was lying on my back.
Okay, go on.
Okay, Tenteng. Well, he continued stamping on me, on my body, up to my private parts, towards my legs.
How long did it take? This act of him stamping on you, how long did it take?
Akabe tajire ya menkela ke dongi kanwonya ay wati jelleta.
Nto fono la because after manna buku kala makote ke mflat tawledo.
Well, okay.
I cannot estimate the time because after that I passed out and I was not aware of anything else.
While this other person was stomping on you,
can you
tell us what the others were doing?
Yo muye kumandiro ke mundo munko do e baji bati no be wole bulu. Wole ko nyi singo muye futandija uben singo lilipaka.
The one that made the call, who called Baji to bring the rope, was the one who had the baton, and he was saying it was your legs that brought you here, and he was the one hitting my legs.
At this point,
you
you said you were in a lot of pain. This is an obvious question, but I'll ask it anyway. Were you crying at this point?
A lot, in fact. Because I said to one of them, if this was your sister, would you have done this to her?
Did any of you feel did any of them, feel any form of sympathy or show any form of sympathy at this point?
Not even one showed mercy.
Did all of them participate in beating you?
Yes, all of them beat me.
Can you please if you can recall, that is, can you please help us on the, get a description of them, if there's any distinct feature in any of them that you can recall?
Ako, foise makoino imulungo ebe nyame foiso fono nyene misali kama nim markebe mo bala wala fembe ama bala wala tamanserbe abala mosi mo sute no menna fo hakili sewul jeno le wala nyaasi fenje bala mosi mo sute menna foise lonno le bal
kilindo mu yen siti koy male mota e fanko soto ala jan.
The one who tied me up is a fair-colored person. Ikai Munesoto had these cuts, these facial cuts on his face. Scars on his face.
You said Baji brought the rope. The one with the tribal marks, is he different from this Baji?
Ako meya lonko marke uluba nyadala fani wo Baji fatatale bang.
Ni Baji manke kilindi.
Yes, it's not the same with Baji.
This other one is fair.
Ako nyindo mumoko yolti.
Yes.
Did you notice how many marks he had?
Ako fo yai hakilo samutale wo farolu menaba nyada bala isa afono le jellem.
Malon dal ban ngalo no ko farol bala janne.
I don't know, but I know that he had a scar here.
Do you know if those marks were on both sides?
Ako fo anyada karafulo bele yo farolu sotobang.
Yes, both sides had those scars.
How about the other two? Did you recognize any distinct feature in them?
Ako lolu dum fo man fem suteno wolu bala mosi man suteno.
Honey.
No.
How long did it take before you passed out? How long during the beating?
Beoli paro menna ni ndombe tamale kan isa fono ay wati jelleta janite be ketula.
Ya lon ko min dimi umeta balu kono special ni tata imata musula sunjoto ma fauna wala musiya ma fauna ya lo katariya mo wiklal.
You know, the pain was too much in the body, especially when you stomp on the female's breast or on her private part. The pain is always overwhelming.
So we are kendile kabirungo afenketa drong last word ngamu moy wala mudoka eko she's off now.
So that was why when that happened, in fact the last word I heard was that she's off now.
At this point, you've told us that while they were beating you and dragging you and taking you to the PIU camp, you sustained some bruises due to the baton.
Yenyim foko wato men ibe lipa kan kai samba kampoto ibalo dula dolu busita dolu funuta.
Before you passed out?
Biriye futandi je fanan janni be ketula.
Did you feel any other additional injuries being inflicted on you?
Fo barama dolu fanalu sikke balale bang janni be ketula.
No kabira botang singula nimbalol mbusita mang femfil kote kefo abrim fata loptano.
Apart from my legs and the bruises, there was no other pain I felt until I got to the hospital.
Do you know how you got to the hospital?
Yalo ne futata loptano to nyamembang.
Loptano to hanimalum futata jenyane.
No, I did not know how I got there.
Were you eventually told how you got to the hospital?
Fo monata fo yenne bang ifutata loptano to nyameng.
Yes, someone told me. A female nurse told me.
And can you tell us what this female nurse told you?
Musu noso aya foye ko yenati ye nyadile.
Nurse muso nying atebedo ko la dead house le.
The female nurse was working at the dead house.
So kabriye mol nati ngamre mol jurumi ja ko be fure pa ko la.
So I think when they brought us there, they just parked us there, and as he said, they were taking care of the corpses. So as they were labeling the corpses until I was even labeled as number 3. So as for the nurse, she thought to herself and said, well, since she's dead, it is not proper to leave her with this rope so that her relatives will come and find her in this situation.
So akaya decide ka julo nyinta kam firang.
So she decided to remove the rope from my body.
Akaya julo nyim awaya firang abi mini ngoli bondika.
So when she untied and she was removing it from me,
Fa futata nkango mafangola.
until she got to the side of my neck,
Kaya je ngani jiyo sabasi nyakele.
and she realized that I took a breath.
Can you recall the name of this nurse?
ako fanyi noso hakilo sibula tola le bang
Until ka file antinjay da mambari ma tolong definitely.
We call her Auntie Jai, but I don't know her real name.
Given that you referred to her as Antinjai, I'll assume that she was an elderly person.
ako wayri alko alka kumandi antinjay la woto asake moti men sike ke bala momulunguti
Ha musudindi muluno ke bala mu muluno.
Yes, she was a little woman, but quite elderly,
Fimal musu fingole muteng.
dark in complexion.
Amang ay balo dumale warta ba santo mesayata.
The lower part of her body was broad, but her top part was slim.
Can you recall how long it took you to gain consciousness?
ako faysa fono ni jannin ketobe bule nyala ay wati jelleta
No ma long san kabila ngamera Abdukarim le nata fonyi akonyi yam asike aboko 1 week yo nyon sotale because nte yalo ila guardian kana ja wata katara sira ka kumbo akonte te futa no la ma nin salong ila munemo.
I don't know, but Abdul Karim later told me that it could have been up to a week because one of my relatives used to come and she'll be crying all the time.
Like Elas Baji nakanaji la akantara laring.
Elas Baji used to come and find me there lying down.
But before no so ya janing ngari ko no so nyin ko nyiko kabringa bondinga je ye ni jidoro ndeko nyimamfa.
But before I recovered, the nurse said to me that when she removed the ropes and saw that I took one breath, and she said that I was not dead.
So I modo kumanda ko nyimamfa de.
So she called some other person and said to the person, this one is not dead.
Okaya ko ngi pakta manyili moti nyili ko mulbe baluri ngi paka ko e hani nyimamfa.
That one told her, no, let's just pack them. There's none among these that is still alive. And she said to the person, no, this one is still alive.
Ako nyale ma ayinchika ning ayebori anisamba A&E.
She said that was how she took me and rushed me to the A&E.
Otumolo ye Dr. Do kumandi Cuban doctor lem yo kumandi wanata okoyeko amamfa.
That was at the time that they called one doctor who was a Cuban who later told them that she is not dead.
Koyeng ateno nyale.
that's how they attended to me.
Thank God for the diligence of Antinjai.
ako mosi alatentu antinjay la sobe yakang
So, you've told us that it was Abdul Karim that told you that you had been at the hospital for about a week.
yanyin fanyan ko Abdul Karim wala nata fayan ko ay atatala han fo lokun ibe loptano kono je
Who is this Abdul Karim you're referring to?
ako jumalum nyin Abdul Karim ti
Abdukarim jame natale benung the same word. Afanan testify ta janne natale benung the same word.
Abdul Karim Jame, we were in the same ward. In fact, he testified here.
After you gained consciousness,
birin keto bote nyala
can you please tell us what you were feeling?
isa fono nye ibe nyadi le jato be nyadi le wotumo
Janne because janin ke do bonde fo nyala ndela mol ko mfatale ndela sukonon ko already ikakumbole ko mfatale.
Before I came off the coma, most of my relatives used to say that I was dead.
But no sister do bije ka fa Salimatu Camara.
But there was one of my sisters called SAINABOU Camara.
Ate ko mol ka kumbonya nya ko mfatale but ate ma feel no ko mfatale.
She said that despite all the crying of the relatives saying that I was dead, she did not feel in her that I was actually dead.
Ako every day na tata do ko la kata lopta notol.
She said that every day she went to work, she used to pay a visit to the hospital.
bari am kalong abenjeno la nyaade le kanto am atamo nyinin kano la molbe siare njele.
But she did not know how to get to see me because people were many.
Akona ko emnal man seni loy ka faale no seni to tembara because otumo imante to long ya level na mbe fure obun kono wato mun mul level mbala number 3 o dam manne be mbala mo man to long.
So when she asked if they knew who Seni was, they will tell her that there was no patient, there was nobody there with the name Seni, because I was labeled as a cop and I was given the number 3.
Sa ko folun killing akwana tana bari bara so le ken moltema.
Because she said one day she came because there was a partition between me and the people. There was a barrier.
Akaya je mofi no so bota je drong afanan triata dun tajeto.
She said she saw a nose come out of that enclosure, and then she also hurriedly rushed inside.
Ako kabira futata yenje aman sute no bot badia yellow.
She said when she came in, she could not recognize me, but she felt through blood relation. At that time, my whole face was swollen. She said, Seni, Seni. But she saw that I was not responding. And at that time, Antinjai came in. She asked, do you know this one? My sister said to her, yes, I know her. She is my younger sister. She said to her, she has been here for all these days, but we don't know any of our relatives. And that was how she got out of the hospital and make a call to the house to let them know that I was at the hospital. That was how my relatives got to know that I was at the hospital.
So, after a week, when you gained consciousness, can you please tell us how you felt, what you felt in your body?
Ako inata ibaloje nyadi le men ibala jato kono inata muleketela.
It was difficult because only my hands were moving. They fixed a pipe so I could urinate. I could not eat, I could not do anything. I was just lying down like that. Even if I speak, you would not be able to hear what I was saying.
Can you tell us what injuries were on your body?
First of all, ite fonga la korosro ni jero to mum barama fasonu leketela.
Apart from the injury I sustained on my leg, this other injury, I did not realize it. I did not know where it was, but I used to feel the pain. That was on my private part. Under. Yes. That injury was there. Yes.
Can you please tell us if you experience any form of bleeding on your body?
Ako foisi nyimfono nyeng yelo na taboy bala jato bala lebang.
A lot of it, a lot of blood was coming out of my body.
Which part of your body?
Balo mintol yelo be bokan wolle bala no.
Na bara moyalo already yalo ne ko bara mole boto ko to dress le.
The injury I had, that one was known, that one was being dressed.
On a private part, damin farata imanje kara ima femfending ugo nyale je damma.
But my private part, the part that was torn, was not shown back. Neither was any kind of medical attention given to that part.
Obije wole nyama foka brins yembula watu munna nkoto mala muso nkasiji kandole kono.
That injury was in that state until I was released. And when I went home, I used to immerse myself in warm water.
From how you were feeling?
And the
injuries on your body?
anim baramolu menu be bala jato bala.
What did you think happened to you?
Ila miraro to mosa fono mune ketela.
Nde ya mira ko min ron o tilimbale ale mun kenna lo la pirole mun kenna nte wala mira.
I think it's the
beatings that I sustained. I thought that it was because of those beatings and the man stamping on me were the cause of those wounds.
Baramu mun ketanna musiato ngam fanyi nin kala le nyaaw nyandi ma ansano.
But the wound on my private part, I still cannot understand how I got wounded around there.
Did you, apart from the wound there, did you see any bruises around your legs, for example?
Ako baramo kola iwutolu bala isingulu bala fo dulalu sotontale damen yalon ko ibu sita.
Wuto ko maten ko mbe jandi nyami wuto ko maten je bu sita le no.
Yes, behind my tight there was some bruises.
When you gained consciousness, were you able to walk?
Ako birin keto botela fo wultano le katama bang.
Bukatama nga 1 week wheelchair kono.
I couldn't walk. I spent a week on a wheelchair.
Abdou Karim sin witness first day ye londi purunga tama hani kan sindi fang katinna ko edindi folo ka nindi siyola lumina.
Abdou Karim can bear me witness. The first day they tried to make me sit on the wheelchair was like trying to make a baby sit for the first time.
Apart from the wounds that you've described, you did tell us that several parts of your body were swollen. Can you please tell us where was swollen?
My face was all swollen. My sides too were swollen. My groin and my private part was also swollen.
The kind of pain and bleeding you were experiencing, have you ever experienced it before?
It never happened.
I'm sorry that I have to ask this question, but you did say you had an injury on your private part. What do you think caused that injury?
No matter how much I asked myself about that, I still cannot come to a conclusion as to what might have injured me there.
Did you feel anything? Apart from the surface, did you feel anything on the inside?
Yes, that was the reason why a pipe was inserted for me, because I could not urinate normally.
Based on what you've told us so far, you had bruises around your legs, your groin was swollen, you had an injury on your private part, you could hardly urinate, so they had to assist you with the help of a pipe. Did you believe that something was inserted into you?
More long because I
don't know about that because at that time I was in a coma.
At that point, did you feel like that was done to you?
It
could be, but I did not see. And before the incident, that did not happen to me.
Thank you very much, Madam Camara.
Numbarabake, Madam Camara.
This had been quite a painful account for you. And you've shared it with us bravely. So it's time for the break now. When we come back, we'll resume from where we stopped. Madam Chair, back to you.
Thank you. We take a break of half an hour. Oh, we didn't hear you. Thank you. We take a break of half an hour. Thank you.
Mbe montoro wati talante okela dahala.